So this is fun. I pretty much spent the last 20 minutes trying to figure out which part of this camera to look at. Which one of these ring light settings is better for my skin color and skin tone? I mean, I don't fucking know. And then, and it's also, it's like, it's bright and it's shining in my eyes. How is that supposed to be a natural speaking space? So this is my launch of a YouTube channel, which, by the way, I'm trying to figure out. I'm looking directly at, because you've got it. I've got it in like that. It's horizontal. My phone is right now. I'm so tech savvy. This is why somebody else should be in charge of all of this. And then I'm looking, but now I'm looking to the left of the phone to feel like I'm looking directly at the person I'm speaking to. So this feels entirely unnatural. But if I were to put the camera like this way, then, it wouldn't be the proper wide lens view. And so I could spend that much time figuring out how to present myself to the public and totally miss the entire point, which is that I have something to say, that there is something to share, that there is a voice, my voice that I want to use into the audience, add it to the chaos. But hopefully it's a clear voice, and it's one that calls you through the chaos, that there's like, oh, wait, I hear this one like clear, clean note. I'm going to follow that one. I'm going to follow that through all the dark, through all the shadow, and see if I can just find my way there to that clear tone. So that's what I'm trying to do with my voice. Because I know that my life has predominantly been finding my way through the chaos, through all of the cacophony and all of the different voices and narratives in my own psyche. And then I have had to come to a place of finding the voices that called to me, that became the clarity that I needed in the midst of all of that noise. And because of those voices, I found my way into an awakening and into understanding and into healing. And I would not be here were it not for those voices. And there are many I could name, and I probably will throughout the course of the time that I speak to an audience, because I've had many teachers. And then it's only been recently that I have heard myself referred to as a mentor, or and I finally succumbed to going into coaching spaces and speaking and things like that. It's quite a thing to step up and say, hey, I have something to say, and it's significant enough that you should all sit down and be quiet and listen to me say this thing. Like, that I should have the platform, that I should be the one telling you what I think and feel about a situation, and that bears merit with you. Do we recognize as leaders what a huge responsibility that is? And so in my journey to support other people in their own journeys, I only share what has been true for me. I only share what I have found has been consistent in my own experience of life. And one of the beautiful things about life is that, well, we all just seem to find the same things true, don't we? And truth calls to us. It's like a beacon, and it just beckons to us, and you feel it. It's a knowing, it's a resonance inside of you. And then you like enjoy sharing that truth with others. And you can both just sort of nod and agree, like, yeah, we both think that that's true. And then that's this really beautiful, unifying feeling. There is this idea that the one became the many in order to experience the joy of becoming the one. And that is that is an awakening, I believe. It's a powerful place. It's a place that moves me. It's a thing that causes me to be able to find my way through the day and look towards the light, you know? Even though I don't know which part of the screen to look at. But I'm here, I'm speaking to you, whoever you are on the other end of this screen, and you're probably alone, and you're probably in your home, and you're just looking for a light. You know, you just need a little light. And I know what that feels like. And I know in those dark hours, I was just like, oh, I have to find something to bring me back. And I would find a YouTube channel. And I would often, that was where I would go. So I have had people often say to me, like, you should have a podcast, or you should do, you know, do you have a TikTok channel? What are you doing with your content? Fucking content. I don't have the time to spend that much time thinking about how to present myself, because there are people in the dark that just need a hand and need a light. And I did not have very many of those when I was all alone. You know, I didn't have anybody in so many of those seasons. And so I came to these screens to find just a way to feel less alone. You know, and I heard things that made me feel like I was maybe not losing my mind. And I just needed to be told that that was normal, but where I was okay. But that it wouldn't last forever. I would find my way through. It would be a moment, it would pass. And so now my work is to sit with others in these moments, because I know what it's like to be in these moments. These lost moments. And for the longest time, I was a life raft for others, you know, because I knew I needed a life raft. And this me moving and showing all of my emotions in a public forum is me saying, I'm not a life raft anymore. Like, that's not adequate for us to all just be dangling over a void, hanging on to just inflatables, right? Isn't that what a life raft is? Or just like a flimsy floating thing. No, that's not sufficient. We need lighthouses. We need lighthouses so that when the storm is churning and we are on our ship, on the ship of life, that we don't hit the rocks, you know, that we know where the coastline is. We can come in for some warmth by the fire, for a reprieve, you know. So I see my role in society more as a lighthouse than a life raft. And I'm just going to share things that have been meaningful to me, that have helped me find my way. Do I call awakening? Yes, I do feel like it was an awakening, because I realized I was sleepwalking through my reality, you know, and I was living my life running on all of these outdated operating systems and programs. You know, in this age of technology, we understand technology, but the human technology is such a mystery to most, you know, and we are just a technology made of organic matter, with systems that run a specific way. And when you understand how a system works, right, you're a programmer, if you're somebody who works with computers, if you're somebody who works with any type of engineering field, you understand the mechanism, whether it's the airplane or the aircraft or the ship or or it's a bicycle even. But whatever that vehicle is that calls to you, that you're curious to understand it. And then people come to you, you know? So if it's a car, you're a mechanic. And they just don't know what to do. It's making this mysterious sound, and there's a strange smell coming from under the hood, or whatever it is. Who do you go to? You go to the person that knows how to work with these vehicles. And some of these vehicles people have are very specific, and you can only find a handful of people who know how to work with them. The really wonderful thing about being a human is that that's what we all are. We're all different kinds of humans, that's for sure. I certainly don't feel like I'm the same species as most people most of the time. I'm a unique character, and so that's generally who is going to find what I have to say resonant and helpful. But that is really the thing. I have come to understand the human vehicle in a lot of ways. And so, like a mechanic, people come to me, things are not quite working right, and everything I've tried isn't working, and the place I go to get my oil changed, well, that's no longer adequate. They've been putting the same oil in for a while, whether it's a medication or a dysfunctional, way of coping. Eventually, it's when it stops running on the road the way it's supposed to that people come to mechanics. So there's a lot of you humans that are not running the way you're just barely running. Really, you're having a hard time just puttering down the road. And well, I only have so many hours in a day, and I also have to caretake this vehicle that I am. And so it has become clearer and clearer to me that I have to speak to a larger audience, because if I can amplify my voice in a way where I can share it with others, then, and then they can share it with others, and then they can share it with others. Because I don't care about who's delivering the message, as long as there's a message and a light and a fix, and you can get back on the road. Do we glorify the mechanics? I mean, you might be like, there's a mechanic I know. He's great with these types of issues, right? I'm your gal. I'm the mechanic. I am a people mechanic, and I have my areas of specialty. If you defunct in these specific ways, come to me. I can help you. You know why? Because I defuncted in those ways myself. I struggled in those areas myself. And what I have found increasingly more and more is that is a pretty broadly shared experience. The most of us are struggling with the same things, and everybody thinks their problems are unique. And the reason that we want to believe that our problems are unique is because we want to feel like we have some sort of significance. We never grew up believing that we had value, and so we find value in our dysfunction, because it gives us a sense of recognition that we exist and we matter, and people have to consider our preferences. So it's because you have been afraid to actually have preferences, and it's easier if you say, well, I have this disorder, I have this problem, please account for my needs. And we have all of these rules in society about when we are willing to make compromises to what each other needs. And so what if we all just gave ourselves permission to exist and have unique preferences and needs and desires, and that we had value and that we mattered? Well, what I find is really beautiful is that when we give ourselves permission to be, and that we value ourselves just for existing, all of those noisy complaints that the body has been making, that the spirit has been making just to get your attention, well, they just resolve magically, you know? So everybody's looking for a quick fix. If you want a quick fix, that's it. That's the secret. You just gotta love yourself. You've gotta love yourself, and you have to believe that you matter just because you were created and you exist. But it was the hardest thing in the world for me to figure out how to do. It should not be so hard. Why? When a child is born, the very first thing we want them to know is that they are loved. And yet most of us grow up not believing that about ourselves. And something is getting lost along the way, because at the origin point, at the creation point, at the birth point, there was love and value. But we are generation after generation of dismissed, ignored, devalued individuals. And as much as our higher self wants to be capable of love, well, so few of us experienced it in adequate ways when we were forming and growing up, and we don't actually know how to love. We have forgotten. But we did know once, you know, because we were born out of love. Most of us, not all of us. The amazing thing about birth is that even when it is unplanned, when the new life arrives and you look at it, you can't help. You just can't help but love it. It's why we don't want to look at it so often, you know, because we know that love is just innate and it will happen and it will call to us, and we don't want to feel it sometimes, you know. Oh, we have such a complex relationship with love. And it's only just a reflection of the relationship that we have with ourselves. And we cannot fix the world around us. It is outside of our control. I cannot fix the people around me. They are outside of my control. But I can go to work on what I know within my being, within myself. And as I make these repairs, and as I mend these wounds, and as I show up ready to show others how to do the same, well, we could really make a difference in the world, couldn't we? If we were all doing that. Imagine what we could be, where it would go. We limit ourselves so much. We could become limitless. The universe is always expanding. We understand that on a quantum level. What is preventing you from expanding? Evolution is the nature of life. What is preventing you from evolving? The garden wants to bloom and grow and continue to blossom. And those of us who garden and nurture and raise children, well, we understand all of these principles. What is preventing you from flourishing in the garden of yourself? And then let's go to work on that. Let's bring some light there. And let's see if we can't change the world one person at a time.